Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network presented by FanDuel. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. It is Victory Monday. Officially the last Victory Monday of the calendar year. Potentially the last Victory Monday of this 2025-2026 NFL season. Zay, how are you feeling after that ridiculous win yesterday?
Yesterday was good. Today feels, today's Tuesday already?
Monday.
Today's Monday.
We're in a whirlwind here. We got 7 days left of this Brown season. Because
last night after the game, I went outside and I'm like, it is warm out here.
Yeah.
Like it was a warm spike, and then an hour and a half later it was cold, and then this morning it was warm, and then it was snowing. So I'm like, that's what I thought yesterday was today.
Yeah.
Either way, it was good. I guess my Victory Monday felt warmer, but it's freezing cold, so I think that's what's kind of throwing me for a loop right now.
Yeah.
No. How about you? How was your holidays?
It was great.
Wait, didn't we talk already? Am I lost?
Yes, you are lost. We talked post-Christmas. Yeah,
did we talk post-Christmas?
We did, because post-Christmas pre-Steelers was Friday.
Because
Zay, wake up. The Browns won the Super Bowl. Zay, wake
exactly.
up. Zay, wake up.
See, I'm living in fantasy land because I told you it was typical for the Browns to, they worked so hard to get that draft pick, and then they won, and then you heard every single player say bump that draft pick. And there was one thing that I kind of wanted to talk about quick and early was they mentioned it on the radio station where he said, I think it was Daryl Ryder, he talked about Kevin Stefanski. There was one thing that he saw, and that was that the players didn't give up on Stefanski. And I heard that comment, and I'm like, I didn't get that from that sense. Like, if he didn't give up on it, you would hear the players just straight up say, we're going to war for our coach. We're doing this for our coach and our team. Like,
I think it's more the Steelers than anything else.
Bingo.
Yeah, this is the game you get up for.
That's the game you get up for. And crazy enough, remember we talked about the last show, I said that it feels like every time at the end of the year they're smacking us in the mouth. We've been dominating the Steelers at home recently in the past, 4 years or something like that?
Last 8 years, the Steelers are 1-6-1 in Cleveland, which is crazy.
No longer bitter little brother status, I feel like.
No, I don't think so. It's definitely changed. It's probably changed more since the playoff game, but that 1-6-1 stretch would date past the playoff game, so I guess. But that was, to me, the big turning point. It is interesting, the whole draft pick discussion. I mean, the Giants and Raiders had their tank bowl over the weekend. You got people saying this team should be doing this, but the Browns don't care. Like I said, I think it was more that it's the Steelers than we're fighting for our head coach or anything along those lines. But the reality is they're still fighting for their teammates. They're fighting for people in the building. So,
and like Miles said, he'd be damned if he lay down and let another man beat him or something along those lines, which I love. You know, there's one thing about Miles. It feels like he's really took a step this year. And it's weird to say that when a guy is as talented as it is, but I'm not talking about his play on the field. I'm talking about that leader that we've talked about. He's just not that type of leader that we envision him being. He's really took a step this year, just like the way that he words it, the way that he speaks, to how confident he is.
Yeah.
The I know what I am. So that's one thing that I've really noticed about Miles this year. And it's like he grew into this leader that we see him today. And I can't wait to see how how that transpires into next season, because knowing that you have like they keep talking about, these rookies are real adamant about, like Shador said, we're the cornerstone of this franchise right now. So now, how do you build upon that? So I'm excited to see if he continues to take that leadership to another role, because if your best player on the team is demanding winning and success, like how he's demanding it, usually it seeps throughout the entirety of an organization.
100%. And I think that's a little more palpable this year, like you talked about. It's almost like he did accept the challenge to be a leader. I don't know if it was a firm 100%, Myles Garrett, you need to do this, but it seems like he did accept it a little bit more this offseason to be a leader. I mean, money talks too. You're getting paid like you're the leader. You can be acting that way. What was really interesting that he said after the game too was it seemed like the Steelers were a little more focused on stopping him than winning the game. I don't know how true that is. I have not watched the film from the game fully yet. I still find that so hard to believe. I find that so hard to believe. Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers fighting for a playoff spot. I think their offense just looked like that because they don't have their number one receiver. I think that's what happened.
I think that they put a little bit more stock into it than they should have. Daniel Ofuya. Why can I never say his name? Oifusi.
Yeah.
He had a tweet out and did some deep diving in the analytic numbers and talked about how he was, I think, 0.4 seconds faster in throwing the ball, and his yards per attempt were like 1.5 yards lower this game compared to the last time Rodgers was compared to the first time that they played the Steelers. trying to say that there was a little bit more
Yeah,
attention
yeah.
to Myles Garrett. And I mean, how big of the one thing that I've been seeing a lot of people say, obviously the pass interference call, which I'm sure we'll talk about,
Yeah.
that it wasn't called, but the whole, if DK was here, they probably win this game.
Mm.
I don't know how we can sit here and have that declaration. By watching the game that we watched this past week, one player wasn't going to dictate an outcome of that game, in my opinion.
I agree it wouldn't dictate the outcome. I
It
think
will change it.
It dramatically changes the game, though.
Because it's not going to MVS on those last 3
No.
plays of the game.
And you
It's
know what?
going to DK Metcalf.
Till the day I die, I love MVS. I think MVS is awesome. I
Mhm.
think he's super underrated. I'm not throwing to MVS against Denzel Ward with the game on live.
I mean,
that's where you
it's-
need DK Metcalf. That is literally where you need DK Metcalf. And I also think part of the reason those numbers were down, obviously, Myles Garrett has a big part in this, but the time to throw, the depth of target, I think those are probably down. Number one, because you don't have the true deep threat, not only in DK Metcalf, but in Calvin Austin too. Calvin Austin didn't play. But also the fact that first game they played the Browns, it was Tyson Campbell's first game off of 3 days on the team. They were testing him really, really early. I don't know if you remember the first play of the game, 50-yard pass to Darnell Washington down the field. Like it was a clear plan for the Steelers to stretch the Browns down the field. And it kind of worked. I don't know. Like they scored 23, but the Browns offense was anemic. They were
Mhm.
doing the defense no favors. So
I mean, it was definitely a tale of two games. It
Yes,
looked,
yes.
you had Dylan Gabriel throwing 52 times the first time, and then you had Shador. I mean, we had 100 total offense in the first quarter of this game. That is insanity
Yeah.
for a team that has averaged 15 points in the past 2 years, in the past 2 seasons. So it sucks that we always find a way to galvanize at the end of the year when it does not matter. Like these weeks would be so much more fun. I'm watching the game and it's just like, yeah, I want to win. It's the Steelers. You always want to win. But the excitement isn't the same.
Yeah.
The feeling isn't the same. It's just like in the back of my mind, you hear this is their Super Bowl. It's like, it's little stuff like that I just want to get past. And how do we get past that? We have to find a way to start out not
Yes.
garbage. Like, somebody commented on one of the posts and they were saying, just think about how different this season could be. 3 games this year that you could look at easily and be like, if we win this game, it's a completely, I mean, week 1, if you win week 1,
yeah, that changes a lot of things.
the first 4 weeks of the season, you're 2-2. You beat Green
Yep.
Bay, you win week 1. The energy is complete. That Joe Flacco might still be
I
on
was
the
gonna
team.
say I don't even know if Flacco goes.
You're like, it's a completely different world. You talk about the Minnesota game, a game that we should have won that game.
Yep.
The Jets game, however you want to cut that way, a special teams debacle, which I mean, debacle is seems like a more frequent term in terms of the special teams this year.
Yes.
But like, there are a lot of games this year that you look back and like, we are so close to winning those games. But how do you change the narrative to be that good teams that find a way to win? You think about 2023, the same games that we lost this past year, we were winning those in 2023. Where's the difference between that and barely winning? Like the Bears. Think about how many games they've won this year under 2 minutes. That's where the Browns have to figure out, how do we become a good team and win those games that we couldn't win? And obviously, that probably does go with talent.
I think luck's involved. I really do. Like you look at the Chiefs last year, what were they, undefeated in 1-possession games? This year, I don't even
They
know
had
what
won
their
like
record
8
was.
of them or something like that.
Yeah, and then the Houston Texans started. I think they started off the season 0-5 in 1-possession games, and now they're figuring out ways to win. I mean, luck, quarterback play plays a part. Like Caleb Williams is the reason the Bears are winning a lot of these games. He's playing his behind off.
He looks good.
Yeah.
I'm watching Caleb, but I didn't catch much of the crazy. The one game I don't want to watch.
Last night.
Oh. I turned it on. It was 25. It was the fourth quarter, and I'm watching Caleb Williams escape the pocket. That one throw that he had where he escaped out and rolled out to the left and threw a laser to the sideline. I'm just like, that's not a throw that you see every day.
No.
Dude's got it, and I wasn't a buyer. I'm bought in now.
Yeah, Caleb's been awesome. That's the Ben Johnson effect, I think, too.
I think.
You know what? We'll end with this and we'll keep talking Browns Steelers. But the other quarterback in that game, Brock Purdy, you know what take has gotten me more flack than anything over the past couple years, and now I look like a genius. Actually, I shouldn't say I look like a genius.
That he's a franchise quarterback?
No, like I think a lot of people agree with that. I said, I want to say it was close to 2 years ago, Brock Purdy reminds me so much of Josh Allen. The instincts are the same. The way they play the game is the same. And people are like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Go watch those two guys play and tell me there's not a difference, at least outside of the size department.
That's where I think that's where I'm blinded at. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't see the physicality part of it, but maybe I have to start turning my eyes to that, because there's one guy, since we're doing comparisons,
Yeah.
you know who Rocket Sanders reminds me of? Every time I watch this guy carry the ball, I'm like, dude, this looks like Jamal Lewis.
Oh.
And then I went back to watch some Jamal Lewis highlights, and I'm like, okay, maybe not fully Jamal, because Jamal was. I didn't know Jamal was that shifty and quick. Like, he used to move, but there's some instances when Rocket hits that hole and he's plowing forward, it gives me flashes of Jamal Lewis.
Wow.
And I think they're gonna have a very interesting running back room debate next season with Rocket, because I like the kid.
Yeah. I think that could be another change of pace guy. It's a bigger guy, shorter yardage guy. Maybe you spell Judkins out a little bit. I don't know.
Sanders, Sampson, Rocket, I'm cool with it.
That would be
Because Sampson
Pretty
looks
cool.
good too.
Samson's a good player. Be a pretty cool backfield. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back on Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. Zay, we got to talk about the end sequence here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, driving right down the field, Aaron Rodgers making two ridiculous throws. They get to I don't know where the goal to go situation was, but I think it was outside the 5.
7, I think.
Denzel Ward every time. First of all, Denzel Ward's press conference after the game, awesome.
Silly, right?
Don't know whose bright idea it was to target. I don't know if you saw his
To throw
Instagram
it.
post. It was like 2 hours ago. He just posted on Instagram. It was like, got any other bright ideas? Like it's awesome. It's
Well,
the
we know Joe
Steelers.
Burrow's gonna attack him next week.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. But I was mesmerized by the end of the game. I really was. First of all, I didn't think the Steelers could get down there that fast. Rodgers was delivering some.
Yeah, you forgot you're a
Ridiculous.
new Browns fan. You're not
Well, yeah.
fully aware of how
That's
this
true.
thing
Yeah.
goes. That I knew the second that I looked at the clock. It was so predictable. You knew when we got the ball, and after they went for it, it was like they're getting the ball back. They got 3 timeouts. Thankfully they had just got under the 2-minute warning, but I'm like, they're gonna go run. They're gonna stop them. They're gonna get the ball back. They had a $1:40 on the clock. I'm like, this is Aaron Rodgers and the
Aaron
Pittsburgh
Rodgers.
Steelers. That's an eternity. And what do they do? Bink, bink, bink.
Yep.
Sure freaking enough. As easy as it could possibly be. But, I mean, the one thing that this defense has been known for, whether it's the start of the game or when they get down in those crunch time situations, minus the Minnesota game, they broke there. They are bend, don't break type of defense. If you get them in a situation where they feel comfortable at, I mean, one-on-one could be is as comfortable as Denzel Ward's going to get on a guy like MVS. So it was a bend, don't break moment for that defense, and I think it was one of those, I don't want to say statement win. I think we're kind of going overboard with the statement wins, but it does add to the culture for these guys
a
to say,
culture
you know
win.
what? We're not going to let the Steelers do what they continue to do against us all the time. So it was definitely mesmerized. PTSD is more like
Okay.
it for me, but
That's fair.
it was fun. It was a
That's
nice
fair.
sequence on how they ended it.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird knowing that the Steelers were probably going to get a shot. And it's Aaron Rodgers, like you said. You never know with the Hail Mary. You know what was really crazy to me about not just the 2-minute drill, but the whole game? You lose DK Metcalf, your number 1 wide receiver. In the offseason, you trade for Jonnu Smith when you already have Pat Freiermuth. And Darnell Washington is another good pass catcher. I was shocked at how little the Steelers use their tight ends.
Well, the Jonnu Smith got there was at one point, I think it was out of the half, Jonnu Smith was lined up as a running back, and they had him at that one point. I'm like, what the heck is going on
They do
here?
that.
But I mean, it's so corny to say. I really don't want to be that guy, but like, you could, if it didn't look like they were following some kind of script out there or some kind of guideline, it just, like you said, Darnell Washington is 320
Yeah, you can't
pounds.
stop him.
How many times have we seen tight ends carve us up across the middle? Aaron Rodgers is known for doing it all the time. I mean, that back shoulder throw, there were some unlucky things that fell our way for the first time in what seems like forever. So I don't know. I think the Steelers, there's only going to be 2 saving graces for them in this playoff stretch if they even do make it to the playoffs, which will be Rodgers and Tomlin. But I just think they lack explosive players.
Mhm.
Like, and until they get that, I can't take them seriously.
Real quick, guys, if I can
Yeah.
chime in here. So Trey Essex, Trey Day 79 on Twitter. He's the host of Snap Count with Charlie Batch. This guy's kind of falling over there in Pittsburgh, guys. You look at this right now. Did you just throw the ball to fucking MVS 3 times after Pat Fryermuth got you all the way down the field? So the sky is falling down there in Pittsburgh. But
Beautiful.
do you think this statement was more of a Steelers loss or a Browns win, guys?
I think this is 100% a Steelers loss. I don't want to be a revisionist and go back on this George Pickens trade, but the guy's, 4 years younger? He's better than DK Metcalf. He's a better football player than DK Metcalf.
They would have been a crazy duo. You see what
Well,
they did?
that number one, 100%. But if they're walking into this, and the Arthur Smith offense has good things, there's a certain way they operate, but it's never this like, we have dominant pass catchers and we're going to use them. You need those guys. You do. Especially in today's NFL when you're going to play a team who's going to play man-to-man all game long and challenge you. They traded George Pickens away, or what it seemed like, because of character stuff.
Which is weird for the Steelers.
Weird for the Steelers. Tomlin gets the most out of those guys in that department. I don't know if he felt like he couldn't with Pickens or it was a lost cause. Contract was also a thing as well, right? Like he's going to be a free agent this year, might get tagged, all this stuff. But you trade him away. You get DK Metcalf. That happens with DK Metcalf in the biggest 3-game stretch of the season. Granted, you win the Lions game, right? You get suspended for 2 games, the 2 biggest games of the season. And now you're in a spot where, again, the outcome of this Browns-Steelers game probably not dictated by one player. I think the game looks different. And now you're playing a Baltimore Ravens defense that's extremely similar to the Browns. They're awesome on the ground right now. Josh Jacobs just had 4 yards against them. 4.
That's wild.
And you're going to have to challenge them through the air with Adam Thielen, MVS, your running backs, and tight ends. I don't know. Like, I don't think the trade is going to go down as like an all-time blunder. I really don't. But that move makes it look a lot worse than it actually was.
I mean, I'm just thinking about, like, I'm kind of just trying to figure out logic here a little bit, because you think about Mike Tomlin, right? And when you talk about the lack of talent that the Steelers have on the offensive side of the ball, now, granted, the defense is the highest paid, but, like, you asked if this is a Browns win or a Steelers loss. You can swing it both ways, but how for all of the jokes and all of the low-hanging fruit that is, well, this is just how the Browns are. This is how they operate. Is this not what the Steelers have been doing for the past decade? They have a great start to the season, and they crumble at the end of the year every single time. Now, my question goes, is that a Mike Tomlin problem? Or is that a talent issue? The same questions that the Browns have right now. That we say, well, we can't win games because of the talent issues that we have. Well, then you talk about, and then you reverse it to Mike Tomlin. It's like, well, he gets them to 9-7, but look at the talent compared to what he's going with. So whose fault is it? Like, this is why it's like you got to have everything in a line, and don't think that the grass, like we mentioned before, don't think the grass is always greener over there.
No.
What would Mike Tomlin look like when he does have the efficient talent on the offensive side of the ball? Because he does find ways to yield guys to a 9-8 record or whatever the case may be every single year. And usually when you get to that end of the year and that when the thing starts to crumble, like they always say, the cream will always rise to the crop. Well, the cream ain't too crappy over there because they don't have the talent on the offensive side of the ball.
They don't.
The defense shows up sometimes. Like last year, I don't know. I don't think the defense was the reason why they lost last year. It was probably the offense. But no, the offense did show up in that playoff game last year. It was a defense that did crumble, if I remember correctly.
I don't really think they had a chance in that game.
They didn't have a chance. But you know what I'm saying. I just think that please let Mike Tomlin get fired, because I've seen questions being saying that this should be the coach for coach job. Whoever loses this one should be fired. Harbaugh, I'll take Harbaugh or Tomlin.
I know,
So however y'all want to disperse of these coaches, please. 216, when you see it up there, Harbaugh or Tomlin, you better pick up because we got an offer for you.
I wonder how much of it falls on Tomlin, because, I mean, we had Joe Hayden on here who played for Mike Tomlin.
Yep.
And he talked about how great of a coach he is. He talked about how much better the Browns would be if Mike Tomlin was the coach, or just in general, he would not let what was happening or what is happening in Cleveland slide. That would not happen. Like, this would be a decent football team. You got a good defense, all this stuff. Part of me wonders if there's a ceiling with him, though. That's the thing. If the ceiling, well, there is a ceiling. Objectively, I think that we can agree there is a ceiling. I wonder if it's Tomlin or is it the offense? Because, like, bringing Rodgers in was the biggest move they made to say we have an offensive problem and we need to improve it. That was the biggest move that they made, and I thought it was a great move. I think Steelers fans will agree with me. Bringing Rodgers in this year was a good move.
Now it is. They didn't like it at first. Let's be honest.
Really?
They didn't. They were. I think he was too old. It was the same conversations that we were having in Cleveland. It was, I don't want this washed up 40-year-old quarterback, and it's just like, especially after all of the stuff. I'm sure there were some fans who wanted Aaron. We wanted Rodgers here. You know what I mean?
Aaron Rodgers top 10 in touchdowns last year. Like I mean,
I don't know. I think it's. I feel like Tomlin is just in that situation where it's just like the message is stale. These younger generations of fans have a lot to say. And you have them as far as buying billboards in the offseason and tell them to fire the guy. Like, this doesn't happen in old media days or back in the day. Like, and that's why it goes back to the Shador thing, which I really want to get into. It's like, what exactly qualifies a guy to be good? What do you need to see for a quarterback to be good? Because I've seen similar interceptions be thrown. I've seen similar situations. I'm trying to think of what game it was yesterday. Was it the Brock Purdy interception? There was some interception, and I'm like, damn, could you imagine if Shador had just thrown an interception in this scenario like that, what the thing would be? And I'm just wondering, it's just like, what do you need to see from a quarterback, not just Shador, any quarterback to be like, yeah, this guy has it? Because every quarterback makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Every single one. Patrick Mahomes makes them. Josh Allen had. Do we forget his rookie season and how many interceptions he was throwing?
You watch him miss the pass yesterday to win the game?
It might have been that might have been the
he just not an easy pass, but he had Khalil Shakir open game-winning 2-point conversion. He missed them.
No, I didn't see that one actually.
That was it.
Also, before that, guys, he took a 23-yard sack.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, if Shador Sanders is taking the same sacks that that we've talked about all season long, like you got to get that issue fixed. But people like Josh Allen are doing that, and they're in the MVP conversation.
Right.
Yeah,
like it's just foolish to me. My bad. I'm just tired of the whole. Well, it's clear that he doesn't have it. What makes it clear that he doesn't have it? Because we watched Joe Flacco for 4 weeks, and then we watched Dylan Gabriel for 6 weeks, and there was it is a night and day difference with Shador being at quarterback compared to them. We have seen flashes with Shador Sanders. There were 0 flashes with Dylan Gabriel. Can you think of one? I can't think of one.
The Vikings
flash.
Game. That's it.
What flash was it though? I can't think of one pass where I was like,
oh, the David Njoku touchdown.
Oh yeah, the one over that was a good pass.
Or no, not the one over the top. That was a good. The one over the top was a good pass. The one where the touchdown between 2 defenders.
I think I know what
that was Dylan Gabriel played a good game that game. He did. But again, you lose that game, you shouldn't have. We're gonna take a break. We'll talk a little more quarterback play up next on Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. I want to talk a little bit more about the quarterback play because, again, like you've said, there have definitely been the most flashes of talent this year from Shador Sanders. And now, does that mean he's the franchise quarterback? Does that mean they draft somebody? Who knows? Like we got a week left in the season. It's going to be a weird offseason. Potential coaching change, potential GM change, even though we don't think that's going to happen.
Did you see the Josina Anderson report?
Oh, no. I'm taking that with a grain of salt right away.
They were in talks with 2 GMs, or supposedly they have their eyes to bring in an advisory role.
Okay.
So kind of like what we were talking about with the John Dorsey thing, where he's an advisory role over there in Detroit. Mm-hmm. I am all on board with that.
I don't think
you want to bring in a guy that can aid Andrew Berry in his operation. We got to remember, they are trying to run a business right now. They're not as much as we talk about wanting to win and the success stuff. That is second on their mind right now. Number one is business. You do not get rid of a guy like Andrew Berry who can maneuver money like he can. You find someone to aid him and be like,
in the football world.
Exactly. You do that. Gotcha. Especially with after the draft that he did, and I talked about this on the live broadcast, this looks awfully different. I just want to see Andrew Berry without Paul DePodesta behind him because this is different. Something here is not aligning in the world of alignment.
Yeah.
Now that we see how this draft went, because they made it very clear that Andrew Berry was in charge of this roster.
Yeah, guys, if you look here, it's Chris Greer and Tom Telesco. That's who it's rumored by Josina Anderson. Like you said, Max, take that with like 14 grains of salt. many grains of salt.
Tom Telesco, shout out John Carroll, another
shout
John Carroll
out JCU.
Guy. Yeah, I mean Tom Telesco is great in LA, awesome in LA. Chris Greer, I really don't know too much about, but Tom Telesco is awesome in LA. He was in Vegas they were Vegas. He was in Vegas for a little bit with Josh McDaniels, but I don't hate that idea either. Bringing somebody in to be the quote football guy or the more forward facing scout or more forward-facing personnel guy. Again, I'd be curious to see what the process is like this year too. I mean,
who was in charge of Carson Schlesinger?
The scouting department did an unbelievable job this season. Unbelievable job this past offseason, I guess, but unbelievable job this past offseason.
Your boy was in the scouting department. Maybe it was. Shout out to your boy. Plug some love for your boy because he was part of that scouting department.
Absolutely, and he's watching this too. He knows who he is. But yeah, they did it an unbelievable job this season or offseason, excuse me. I wonder if that changes, how much that changes walking into next season. It's not like if it ain't broke, don't fix it type thing because it was broke at one point. But this past year looks like it got fixed. So I think you lean into that process, whatever you did. I think you trade down again. Depends on the pick, but I think you trade down again.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
You asked me earlier about or maybe that was the BTS thing. Is there a world where you could see Kevin Stefanski coming back? And you know me, I'm off the train. I'm done. I want to be done. But I was sitting back and I'm like, okay, let me get out of my feelings a little bit. Let me play the other side. Why would you bring back Kevin Stefanski? And I try to start thinking about answers as to why it would make sense for them. And there's some obvious ones that you can go to, but one really kind of stuck out to me. And it's and it kind of ties with the ego. That was one thing that we kind of talk about with Kevin Stefanski is like his ego won't allow him to give up play calling, da-da-da-da. Now, it's weird because last season he did relinquish play calling duties and it clearly didn't matter, but the fact that he was able to identify that he should give up play calling again to a guy who is clearly better at it than he is, to Tommy Rees, and it actually looking different. I know it gets stagnant sometimes, but again, it goes back to for this second 8 games of the year versus the first 8 games, there's a pulse on offense. You at least can feel life when you were on that offensive side of the ball compared to what you felt on the first one.
Yeah.
And why you would bring back Kevin Stefanski? Well, he made a tough decision of relinquishing it and recognizing that, maybe Tommy Rees is better. Now, is it forced? That's a whole nother debate, but I'm trying to find reasons why. You tie that in with if Paul Podesta was really pulling these strings, maybe they did have something going here. Maybe Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski does have something, which is why they're trying to tie in, is it a package deal with them or not? So, are there many reasons? No, but there are some reasons that you could, I guess, find to bring Kevin back into the fold.
Yeah, I think so.
But I don't want it.
7 wins in 2 years.
Thank you.
It's like...
You can go even farther than that.
Yeah.
He's, 42-60 or something like that, isn't it?
I don't know. But regardless, it's weird. Kevin Stefanski absolutely deserved Coach of the Year in 2023 when he maximized that roster. I don't think they're him or D'Amico Ryans. It was between those two. You would have been...
It's debatable. Dan Campbell was up there, too. It was Dan Campbell, Ryan.
Yeah.
And the only thing I say about that is you can't win Coach of the Year and then get smacked by the guy that probably should have won it.
Well, it's a regular season award.
Fair.
But it was between those two and maybe Dan Campbell, too. But, he deserved Coach of the Year. To me, he deserved Coach of the Year, bringing Joe Flacco back from the dead. Somehow, some way, making that offense watchable with guys that we barely even heard up until midseason when Joe Flacco came in, making huge, huge impacts on
PJ
games.
Walker.
PJ winning games with PJ Walker.
PTR
against Pittsburgh.
But 43-56.
43-56. Okay. It's weird, but I'm saying, it makes the most out of that roster. I think last year's roster was more talented than this year's. But, yeah, I think so. It's close. I mean, the rookies have been awesome this year, but, last year you had so much talent on the defensive side of the ball.
We talked about this in the beginning of the offseason. I still am in the camp that this team is way more talented. This team is way more talented, especially if you add the fact that they experienced I think this is the first time I can look at a Cleveland Browns team and be like, they needed that misery last year. I've never seen. I think back to past season and I kind of want to ask Joe. What was the feeling on those 4-12 teams? Because I was a kid and it's very hard to remember.
Yeah.
As an adult, what was that feeling like at the end of the year where guys were just checked out and not willing to play? Mm-hmm. These guys have not checked out on each other.
This year, no.
And that's rare for a Cleveland Browns team to be like, these dudes are playing for each other. Yeah. So I think last year, getting that success in 2023, all of these guys have been through the mud together. They've had a little bit of success, and they've had the downs of the downs. Now, where you going to go from that? Yeah. This is a big offseason. I don't think you have to find a way to bring some of these guys back that have been through this and make sure that they're here for the success because This is how you build that culture that you're talking about, because these guys were here when it was bad.
Yeah. I'm just wondering who goes, who stays. Like Joel Bitonio probably done.
He's
right?
done. He's probably done.
Wyatt Teller probably gone.
Which is another weird situation. For that. I think he's
Weird
done
situation. Jack Conklin?
Done.
That's 3 of your 5 offensive line.
But that's fine though, because Conklin was already injured half of the years.
Conklin was
every
injured,
single
but I
year.
will say when Conklin played the past 2 years,
He was good.
He was good.
He was good. But you think about the lineman who was it? The Patriots or somebody just found a left tackle at the 30th pick a couple seasons ago, or the
Chiefs. The Chiefs took Simmons this year, who was really good.
And that's one thing that we got to remember. This is an anomaly for the Browns and offensive line. We never have this kind of bad offensive line play.
That is very true.
So if anything can get fixed rather quickly, hopefully, let's hope that it's the offensive line. So
fingers crossed. I'm trying to think what other vets. Shelby Harris probably gone.
I think Shelby.
David
Njoku probably gone.
I think Shelby would be in the camp
I want Shelby Harris
take
back.
lower money. I think
I'll chip in some of my own money to bring Shelby Harris
I mean,
back to
we
Cleveland
had him
Browns.
on. If you hadn't, go check out the show. He was a great interview.
Amazing.
He talked about how it's just fun. He's just like to have fun.
Yeah.
And if you're telling Shelby Harris, a guy that's like, I get to play with Myles Garrett.
Yeah,
This defense was
exactly.
dominant. Hell yeah, I'll take a little bit of less money, come back and play for this defense.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I think there's one priority this offseason that they need to circle. And it's weird that I'm saying it, or not weird because I've been a fan, but Devin Bush, you find a way to re-sign him.
It's weird because there's no way we would have believed that like 5 months ago.
Or even a year. Like, you remember all of the people and how, just wait until Devin Bush gets in your thing. Watch how bad he is. It's like he's been top 8 and top 5 linebackers since then, mixed with Carson Schlesinger. What's going to happen with JOK? This linebacker room for the first time is something that is just like, you can look at it and be like, I'm proud of this.
Yeah, and that defense is going to be excellent next year, assuming most of the key, if not all the key pieces are back. You just need help on the other side of the ball, which is obviously...
Which is why you go receiver.
Yeah, we are going to talk a little bit more about defense, though. We'll be right back on Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. I'm Max Lope, he is Chef Zay. You know how fast NFL game days move. One big play and everything changes. That's why live betting on FanDuel is a game changer. With FanDuel, you can bet in real time while the game unfolds. Score just flip, jump on a new spread or live money line. That wide receiver's heating up. Bet the next touchdown score or total yards. Think that drive stalls in the red zone. Take a live field goal prop or fade the total. Live player props, team totals, drive results, updated spreads, next play markets. It's all there. It's fast, it's fun. And with FanDuel, your live bets move as quickly as the game does. So whether you're riding momentum or fading the hype, FanDuel puts you right in the middle of every moment. Visit FanDuel.com/bigplay to download the app and bet the NFL live all season long. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Paid endorsement. We have to talk about Carson Schlesinger. Defensive Rookie of the Year. You called it, I don't even know when it was. Spring, summer, whenever we were talking about these futures. Odds on favorite right now, probably likely going to win it. This has been a special season from Carson Schlesinger.
I need to test my scouting skills to see if I actually have a knack for this thing.
There you go.
Because when we went to the training camp and we sat next to each other, we were like, yeah, he's moving different.
He just moved. Yeah,
he just looked different, the way that he was built. And then I had to dive deep into it. I pulled up the Luke Kuechly stats, and I'm just like, this resembles everything like Luke Kuechly. And I'm like, I think he was the last linebacker to win the award, if I remember correctly.
Defensive Rookie, yeah.
So the guy is football. If John Dorsey were here, he'd be... That's a football player. Yeah. You know, with the gum chewing, it's like, that's a football player right there. And I just think that is what, when you go back to another iconic player in an iconic moment, that's the type of stuff that's contagious. Like, you got your negative contagious stuff, but when you see a guy like Carson Schlesinger out there, and I think that when you hear the Myles Garrett, Shelby Harris, and these guys say, bump them picks, we trying to win, I think they're looking over there at Carson and being like, oh, hell no. We about to go out here. Like, that stuff right there makes me want to run through this wall, because I can't think of many, if any, players that had that type. Obviously, Joe Thomas has 10,363. No disrespect there.
Yeah.
But in terms of that, I can't think of a player in my lifetime that resembles what Carson Schlesinger is, which is why his jersey is going to be on the way.
It resembles rookie or overall?
He's going to be a future All-Pro.
I don't doubt that. He's got the talent to do it. I'm just trying to think if there's anybody who stepped in like as a rookie.
As a whole, as a rookie, I can't think of what I'm trying to think of back in. Andre Davis was a very good linebacker for us. I do love me some Andre Davis. Not in the set, not Carson. DeQuell Jackson was a tackling machine, not Carson Schlesinger. Kirksey was Cleveland, not Carson Schlesinger.
2023 JOK or Carson Schlesinger?
JOK and Carson Schlesinger are two different breeds of animal. When I think of Carson Schlesinger and I think of JOK, I think of the Derrick Rose when he first came into the league, which was different, and then you seen a Russell Westbrook come in right after that, and it was like, that's the same kind of different, but different. You know what I mean? I can't put them in the same thing because JOK is a different breed, but those are two different types of dogs that I want to have on my team.
Yeah.
But it's not that like you gotta carry me off the field. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have that.
That was awesome. That post-game interview, seeing him continue to play through the injury, it like that's inspiring football.
Makes me want to play.
And that's a 3-12 football team that he's doing that for. So you better have Myles Garrett and those guys saying, who cares about the picks? Like that's putting your body on the line to a different extent. And that's why I look at players all across the NFL who are in these tanking games and nobody wants to lose. Like Max Crosby, who was shut down for the rest of the season, he wanted to play. Like these guys want to play, they want to compete. And there's no better example of that, I think, than watching Carson Schlesinger. So I agree with you. It's hard to, especially at the linebacker position, pin somebody in recent Browns history, or just Browns history in general, who's come in and had that immediate impact right away. He's been unbelievable this year. And in this Browns defense, we very, very casually have overlooked the loss of the third best player on the defense in JOK because he stepped in and hasn't made us think about it.
JOK with Carson and
Be crazy.
Bush. I can only imagine if you got the like I could just literally envision like, hey JOK, you don't have to think anymore. Go get the ball.
Exactly.
Like literally just go get the ball.
Yeah.
I want to see that. And I'm praying like you said, when you say it's contagious, I'm wondering if JOK, because JOK seems like that type of guy, if he's looking at Carson being like, yeah, let me go give this thing one more crack. Like, I'm not going out like that because I don't think JOK does. I do, but then you realize the human aspect of this. JOK is so involved in his culture and everything that he does that if he decides to take that path, I am not going to fault him for that at all. Go do your thing, and you'll always still have a home here
100%.
in Cleveland.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that's a real possibility.
I think
we've talked about it, and you never know. You never know what's going through his head, how he's going through rehab and everything that's going on like that. But it's a real possibility. If he does come back, him on one side, Carson Schlesinger in the middle, Devin Bush.
Best linebacking core in the league?
It's up there. Bears are really good, but it would compete with them. If JOK comes back and is the JOK we saw a couple years ago, yes. Yes.
And if they re-sign Devin Bush, it can't even be close, right?
No. But there's some good linebacking cores out there. Eagles, too.
3 deep, though?
Yeah. Eagles, they run deep. But regardless,
they ain't got no defensive rookie of the year.
That is true. They don't. But yeah, that linebacking core would be unbelievable with a good secondary and an extremely good defensive line in front of them with the best football player in the world on it. So I love the future defensively for the Browns. Offensively, obviously, still a lot of questions. But I do want to talk about this AFC North race because it's been on our minds what this season, what this team would look like if the Browns had an average to above average offense. How differently would these standings look? That's my question, whether it's maybe the Browns competing for this last spot, this game against Cincy meaning something in Week 18, or maybe them beating the Ravens one of the games. Who knows? Like I think the season would look different.
I think we are on the edge of a foreshadow from years and decades to come of what this could be. You think about Joe Burrow was injured the beginning of the season. We could be potentially talking about Week 14 or Week 8 to 17, where two teams, like the division is at the helm of a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been 4-way team. Like, okay, if this guy lives, is this out here? Like, who would have won the division this week? Because we play the Bengals this week. And I think that's what we're really in store for. If the Steelers pick up, let's just say they do find a coach that can get them over a hump. I don't know how many years. Let's just say they have 1-2 years where they have a below 500 season.
Yeah.
They'll be back in contention in 3 years.
I don't know if they will.
I don't think they will either. But no,
Like,
take that back. I'm on the record saying that they're crumbling. They're gonna
Yeah.
crumble.
I think we're witnessing the crumbling.
I do think we're witnessing the crumble, but it ain't that. I don't want to use that reference, but it ain't hit yet.
Okay,
You
that's
know what
fair.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
It ain't hit yet. And when it does hit, you'll know because you're starting to see the signs right now. When have you ever witnessed Steelers fans the way that they are right now? I've never seen it.
Never.
And I love every ounce of it. Oh man, I don't know if you saw the little kid crying as
Oh
MVS went up
no.
and got swatted out and he went to the ground and was
No, I didn't see that.
oh man, it was glorious. I
Oh.
was like, that 9-year-old has no idea what
That
he's
is
in
true.
store for when he realizes that you're gonna have the same misery that I've had for the last 30 years coming up pretty soon. So just wait, it gets worse, buddy.
I will say we were at Map Room before the game, and there were a couple Steelers fans. One of my friends who's watched this too. Shout out to Christian. He did this. It's touch tunes at the bar. They're playing Renegade. They're playing the Here We Go Steelers song. Like, come on, guys. Like, it is not what it once was. Absolutely. And I'm telling you right now, all hell is going to break loose in Pittsburgh if they lose to Baltimore. This Ravens team that has been the joke of the division all year long, who just now realize they have a player who's bigger, faster, and stronger than everybody and are giving him the
Who,
football.
that Derrick Henry kid?
Yeah, shocker. He's hard to tackle
Yeah.
when it gets cold out.
pretty
too.
good.
Yeah, regardless. If they lose the final 2 games, which again, one would be the 3-win Cleveland Browns, but I so think is largely correlated with the loss of a player they traded for and extended this offseason, there are going to be some serious conversations happening in Pittsburgh.
Well, what? So I there were 2 things that I had saw, but I'm not sure if I have the one saved, and I thought I did. Oh, this is from Filipponi. I don't know how real this
gosh.
is,
we go.
obviously, because I know he's in a whirlwind of stuff right now.
Yeah.
But he said, Adam Schefter says on Pat McAfee's show that it is in the realm of possibility that Mike Tomlin leaves the Steelers with a loss on Sunday and goes and does TV next season, or coaches somewhere else in 2026.
That's what Sean Payton did. Sean Payton did TV for a year.
And then Debo, shout out Joe Hayden and Debo podcast. They are literally a peas in a pod. I
Yeah.
don't know how that chemistry worked out like that, but they are so funny. James Harrison, since our last playoff win in 2016, we can't pick a right first and second rounders. But look at that last sentence. That's all on Coach T. This is a guy who has been going to war for Mike Tomlin. Now, obviously, I haven't gotten no context. I didn't get to hear how he said it and what he looked like saying it and what's before and after that. If players like that are starting to give some blame to Coach T a little bit, this is where I always think back. TJ Ward posted something after the game, former Cleveland Browns player.
Yeah.
He goes on and said, Brown should have took the 49-yard field goal attempt. If you don't trust the kicker to punt the ball, the head coach doesn't know how to make good decisions that will win football games. If you have players being so vocal now, what do you think players in the locker room are saying?
Yeah, I mean,
If you think
at least
Debo-
thinking.
and not just thinking, but having conversations amongst themselves as players within that locker room. If you think they're not having these conversations, you're crazy.
I don't know, honestly. I really don't know.
I don't think it's going to be a broad thing, but I think that, let's just say we're locker buddies and we're best bros, right? And you think me and you aren't having little conversations, just me and you?
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I'm just saying, for a guy like James Harrison, that has merit.
Yeah.
Versus someone that's on Twitter saying that, oh, we got to get rid of Mike Tomlin.
Well, I will say, looking at that quote, Mike Tomlin is not the main man to blame if they can't draft first and second rounders. That is not all on. That is on the scouting department, the general manager. Mike Tomlin's got to get the most of those guys for sure.
Agreed.
That is not all on Mike Tomlin.
Does he not play kind of like that GM role like Bill Belichick does?
We don't know, honestly, but he has a general manager above him.
True.
I want to take that one with a grain of salt. Potential decision making, not being able to get over the hump. There is a common denominator. Well, there's been a common denominator. I thought it was as much Tomlin as it is quarterback play. They've gotten good quarterback play this year. They have. Rodgers been good this year. And now they're still there. What's the common denominator?
The common denominator, well, this is where I think a lot of Browns fans have the same gripe. It's firepower. This league is about what guns do you have and how can you use them.
Yep.
And
100%.
unfortunately, they're rocking with .38 revolvers, old school pistols, and sawed or what is it? What is the black stuffed up air guns?
Yes,
like
wrong guy.
yeah, like they're working with older tools.
Yeah,
The league is built. If you don't have the right arm, that's why I keep telling y'all, hey, that boy Jimmy Haslem took a swing and a miss. But he about to go back to that arms dealer and say, I need to reload. I have the money. What can we use to arm this thing up?
Yep.
And this is what we're seeing across the league all the time, which is why the Rams were literally the brink of, it's almost like the LeBron effect.
Mm-hmm.
They showed you that the F them picks thing will work.
Works, yeah.
If you can get the right things in place. Unfortunately, the Steelers is just like, nah, we don't want to do that. We'll pay our defense. We'll get a couple shiny toys and make a couple people happy. But as far as getting that new plasma gun that does 60-degree radius within a millisecond, no, we don't want that right now. Give me that one rifle and give me an AR, a professional sniper who's won multiple awards, and let's see what we can do.
There's a lot of talk about the Browns losing the draft capital with this win against the Steelers. Are we going to hang a banner if we're able to get that one win that is able to eliminate the Pittsburgh Steelers and throw them even further into turmoil, or is it all worth it, guys? We got to hit that on the other side of this break.
Yeah, let's take a break. We'll be right back on Honored Land on the Big Play Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. Guy Max Loeb, he is Chef Zay. Pat just sent us to break with an awesome question. Hanging a banner, celebrating like you won the Super Bowl, or at least celebrating to some extent with this loss that could potentially send the Steelers into a spiral. Obviously, the Ravens still have to beat the Steelers in order for the Steelers to miss the playoffs, but that's a Ravens team that I joke about it, but I'm half serious. Just realized they had Derrick Henry on their team. But that's also a Ravens team that's stopping the run really well and has struggled against the pass, and will be getting a Pittsburgh Steelers defense that doesn't have the guys to stretch you vertically, that doesn't have the guys to challenge your DBs. I think this is that game, that win, the Browns win against Steelers. Awesome win. It's great. I think it's more of a Steelers loss than it is a Browns win. I mean, if that's the tide that pushes the Steelers over, I wouldn't be upset. If it means you move down from the 3rd overall pick to the 5th, whatever happens, I wouldn't be upset.
We have to get past the banner thing. There's some things where if you want to grow, sometimes we have to stop feeding into the fire. Even though we think that it's fun play, it's still fuel to the fire. And I'm a main culprit of it. I still say Browns is the Browns.
Yeah.
I'm still saying that, well, this is typical. Last week I said it's the typical another Charlie Brown situation for us. But seriously, if we want to put those things to bed and we do want to be the team that we want to be and envision, we have to change the narratives and things of that, where it's like, should we hang this banner and celebrate it like this? No, we shouldn't. This should be another game where it's just like, you know what? Cool, we beat the Steelers. But guess what? Our record is still 4-12. Yeah. We still have a lot to prove. We wasted another year. I should feel salty about this. This should be why couldn't we do this the rest of the year? We beat this team that's on the brink of the playoffs yet again, and we stand up. I mean, I just looked at the crazy stat, by the way. Kevin Stefanski is 12-6 at home versus AFC North opponents. No, I don't want to hang a banner. This shouldn't feel glorious that we beat a Steelers team week 16, and sure, it's cool and on the brink of them. It'll feel better that if next year we come out and we have a positive record and we have a 500 record. If we came out next year and we went to the playoffs and the Steelers didn't, then we can have that conversation where it's like, how glorious was that win last year? But right now, no, I've got bigger fish to fry, and I need to put that thing to bed that it's like, yeah, this is our Super Bowl. Nah, I'm done doing that, and you heard it here on Honor Land First. I'm putting it to bed. Wow. No more moral victories for me.
No more moral victories. I will say, I'll take that moral victory. It was awesome.
I mean, but you're right. It's always good to beat the Steelers.
And
but
was it worth the draft picks, though? Was it worth dropping down? Because worst case scenario, you're at 7.
Here's why. Here's why it works. The quarterback conversation should be put to bed.
Correct.
Yeah. Yes, it should be put to bed.
Because if you trade up,
they're not trading up.
We don't know that.
It's true. That is true.
We don't know that. We thought for sure they were going offense with the first 2 picks last year. That was wrong.
That is true. That is true. I also do think if we're calling a spade and we want to keep this situation as transparent as possible with the Browns-Steelers rivalry, the Browns have owned the Steelers in Cleveland.
Yep.
The past, let's say decade.
Like I said, the AFC North.
AFC North, 12-6, you said, Stefanski.
12-6 at home. At home. That's the caveat on it.
But it's pretty good.
That's really good.
I'll take that most of the time. But like you said, That's all well and good. That only takes you so far. You got to start winning more football games,
Yep.
beating out of conference teams, winning one possession games like that. That's what's going to be what stretches you. So you don't have to have this, oh, this is our Super Bowl conversation. But if we are being honest, like this is the Steelers coming to Cleveland has been an issue for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mhm.
That has been an issue, and it was great seeing. Was it worth the draft picks? I don't really care, to be honest.
I think the only thing that it's hindered is the potential ransom that they could have gotten. I mean, you were sitting at 3, and let's just say one quarterback goes and Moore is there or Mendoza's there. That's the only thing that I can think of that's like, yeah, that's the one thing it hindered. But
Yeah.
you can get a receiver now. You can get the offensive lineman now. Like, if we're at 6 and you decide to go offensive lineman, I feel much better getting a lineman at 6 than 4.
Yeah.
Like, when it's like, oh, you got Carnell Tate, you got the pick of the litter at receiver there,
Mhm.
it gives them a lot more flexibility. But one more thing on the quarterback thing, we don't know if we're going to take one. It depends on if Andrew Berry is here or not. I think
Yeah,
if Andrew
yes,
Berry is
yep.
here, there is no chance he is taking a
agree.
quarterback with that pick, because I think, like we said, Andrew Berry's a sucker for a good deal.
Yeah.
You hit the lottery with Shador Sanders, because we talked about just playing average.
Yeah.
Shador Sanders for a full season, we are at least a 7-win team, minimum 7-win team. Minus you gotta give back some of those interceptions. I know
Yeah.
that, but what has he shown? He's shown you progression in certain areas every single week he's been out there on the field. You're telling me you give him a full off season with some receivers, a full off season with the program, and letting him know, and he's not having to go through all of the mud that he had to go through this year. You're telling me some of those things aren't going to cut down?
I would hope those would cut down. Yes,
Or
I'm
is he
with
just
you.
a gunslinger like Jameis Winston? That seems to be what people are running.
But even with
right now.
Jameis Winston, the Browns were competitive. Like
Mhm.
I think around 6, 7, 8 wins is realistic. Like
Well, we'll put some over the hump then. What makes this team? How do we have a Jaguars leap? Because
we just talked about it with the Steelers. You need vertical threats. The Browns don't have a vertical threat. They don't have a receiver like that.
well, this post, I'm so glad you went to the vertical threat and the talent thing again, because I think back, what was the conversation last year with the Patriots? Was because Drake May wasn't what he was this year, and it was he doesn't have weapons, or was that a conversation? Isn't it almost like the same type of
Drake, the Patriots' offensive line was like historically bad last year. That was a big thing, I thought. And they're a little bit better. They're not much better. They're noticeably better. You got Stephon Diggs. Kyle Williams
Diggs
is now
right.
adding depth. You know who's really underrated, who's been awesome?
Mac
Hollins.
Yep.
Mac Hollins has been good. Keyshawn
But that's
Moody's
my
taking a
point,
lead.
though. But
Travion Henderson, like
But that's my point, though. You're naming guys that aren't household names that we could do the same thing had
I
we
don't
had
know.
this.
Diggs has been really good.
Jerry Jeudy was really good last year. I know they're not even in the same strata. Diggs has been fantastic. You're right. I think there's a crazy stat where he's dropped like 0.2% of his balls this year.
I
or
don't know.
There's a crazy stat of him in dropped passes this year.
Diggs is also doing this off a torn ACL, which is important. Like
Which is
this is
very-
a special season from Stephon.
It's a special set. I'm just talking about, like, we talk about these talent issues and these vertical threats. Like, no one was saying that the Jaguars had these magnificent threats at their skilled positions.
I disagree.
Well, Brian Thomas
And Travis Hunter and Diami Brown. And then they traded for
I keep
Jacoby
forgetting about
Myers.
Travis Hunter, he's injured.
But he's injured. But then
But
they
he-
traded for Jacoby Myers, and then Parker Washington's been pretty good.
But yeah, but who was talking about Parker Washington at the beginning of the year?
No,
That's
not a
my
lot.
point. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so obviously they played into what they are now. Why can't we do that? What makes us that difference? Why can't we do that next year? Because you look at what we got
Gotta
now.
draft
Isaiah
somebody.
Bond,
Got to draft somebody.
he's
Or
got
sign somebody.
Isaiah Bond's got that Parker, that guy where we really like, well, they got Isaiah Bond playing well.
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers, we can't find a Jacoby Myers or someone that can is
Trade
sure-handed.
for him. You know what puts him over the hump is AJ Brown. That's what puts them over the
My
hump.
guy that I've been talking about.
Yeah.
I've been
I
on
think
that for. Am I the first one to be on that train? I feel like I am.
I think everybody who's ever wanted to trade for a receiver or wanted their team to trade for a receiver has mentioned AJ Brown once.
I'm talking about, like, leading a chart, like throwing it out there randomly on a Tuesday. Like,
I don't know, but if you're right, I will say it for sure.
I mean, I just wanted that credit. That's
Yeah.
all I wanted.
I think AJ Brown, I think it's a real possibility he's on the move. But at the same time, like that, somebody like that, Chris Olave, I don't know. Like, to me, that's a different
I want a big guy.
tier of, that's what I'm saying. You need a dominant outside X wide receiver, Carnell Tate, if he really is that good. You need that type of guy. Look what the Panthers did with Ted McMillan. They didn't need to take a receiver, and they did. And he's elevated their offense. Guys like that who are true threats, the defense legitimately has to plan for, say, this side of the field, we're going to check to this if we see X look, Y look, whatever, and play the other side of the field differently. And then on the other side of the field, you have Isaiah Bond. You have Harold Fannin Jr. You have guys who can be consistent options who don't have to be the main option. The Browns, to me, need a true number one wide receiver, or they need multiple guys, kind of like the Patriots, to step up with an improved offensive line. To me, getting one dominant guy is a lot easier than getting 5 really good guys.
I mean, I'm just trying to think of like what would make the most sense. How would they want to do this? I'm still, because when I think about scenarios and stuff, I'm still in the Brook Park camp. Like,
Yeah.
their mind's set on Brook Park. How does that fall in line? Do you want to try to take the stab at the receiver early, or do you want to play this window game like from 2025? Like, do you window it 2026 to 2030?
Well, here's the thing about that window. You got Myles Garrett in your prime before you
In
go
the prime.
before you go to Brook Park. You got to maximize that.
You got to take one more swing.
Absolutely. And
So
Jimmy
that's
Haslam's coming.
that's why I want to know whose philosophy was it to not value. I really wish that I could find the article on that, but there was an article a long time ago where they talked about, or I think it was Andrew Berry talked about the value that they have at the receiver position and how it's not high up on their totem pole. Was that a Paul T. Podesta philosophy, or is that an Andrew Berry philosophy?
Or is that a Kevin Stefanski philosophy?
Or Kevin Stefanski philosophy? That's a very good point, because I think that needs to.
Yeah.
That's an area they need to explore. I think they need to throw that out, and I think receiver needs to become higher up on their priority list.
Agreed.
Because especially right now, it's like, yeah, offensive line is probably the closest thing to it, but Browns are not thin at a lot of other positions. They can afford to take a year to throw everything at the kitchen sink at that explosive position this year.
I agree with you. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back, finish up on Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. Zay, we're going to finish talking about the continued outlook, I guess, of this Browns offense, because there's a lot of question marks. This is going to be the last game of the season, and after we get this Bengals game, it's going to be all speculation till August, I guess.
We're back already.
Yeah.
It seems like we were just here.
We were just here. So that's the
Literally.
reality. We sat in these same chairs almost a year ago saying they need to take a receiver. They need to get a receiver. We got Deontay Johnson.
You know what's back? You know what's back next year? Or you know what's back like literally in a couple weeks? Never Sunny and Berea.
Never Sunny and Berea.
It's coming back.
And we'll do some Mount Rushmore drafts for you guys too. So feel free to comment any Mount Rushmores you guys want to do. But yeah, Never Sunny and Berea is definitely coming back pretty soon. This is going to be a weird offseason, but as you know, we kind of look forward to the near horizon. The big elephant in the room is Kevin Stefanski. The Monday after all these games on Sunday, a lot of coaches do get fired or big moves do get made. Do we think something happens on that?
I'm so torn, man. I'm so torn. I watched that press conference yesterday with him, and the second that it ended, I was just like, I want Kevin to work so bad. They look at me a different way because they see how much I want Kevin Stefanski gone. If you think that I just hate Kevin Stefanski and I just only want, like, no, I genuinely want Kevin to work out. It just isn't it. And if it was it, you would see me at the forefront of the pack saying that Kevin Stefanski should be our guy. I think he's got a lot of good quality. I think he's built for the NFL. It's clear. And one thing that I do want to give him his kudos on is he's changed his personality this year. He's dropping F-bombs left and right. He's jumping up. He jumped into Grant Delpit's arms on the sideline after the one play. He was let's effing go after the missed field goal. Like, there was a clear leap in personality this year for Kevin Stefanski. But I think you are so far gone with the core guys that you have here. It's hard. It's the analogy where you take, let's just say that this was a brand new piece of paper, right? It's the analogy where this will be the only time that this paper looks this way.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually you get some crumples in there, you get a torn spot there, but no matter how much you try to pull it back out and you try to tape it back together, that paper will never be as perfect as it once was. I think Kevin Stefanski has just, can time heal those wounds? Yeah, but those battle scars are there. Those things in your memory and all of the things in the 5 years that you've had him as your coach are still going to be there. And you look at that paper and be like, we made it through, but I don't want to go back to that.
What do you think caused the biggest tear in that paper?
Deshaun Watson.
What specifically, though?
He called out Deshaun Watson, and Deshaun Watson told him don't do that, and then he called out Jameis Winston after.
I was thinking the same thing.
I think that was the final straw. Because you think back, go back to the end of the year presser with David Njoku, end of 2023. He talks about how him and Kevin Stefanski didn't see eye to eye and how much they've grown and how they were galvanized there. They were bought into Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah.
He bought me back into Kevin Stefanski in that 2023 season. But that 2024 season, when you said, no, bump this, we're scrapping everything, wide zone's gone, everything is directed to Deshaun Watson, and he played that role, he played that teacher's pet to Deshaun Watson, you can't do that in a locker room full of grown men.
Well, definitely not after the 2024 season. You can't. That was, to me, I think, the biggest letdown for a Browns season probably the past decade.
I think you're partially right. I think that 2021 season hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
that's fair.
you talk about coming off of the Steelers win with that expectation and then not even making the playoffs.
Yeah.
That was a big letdown.
That was a
Where
big
does
letdown.
2019 rank for you? Bringing in OBJ, Jarvis. You're on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
That was
Super Bowl contender, Super Bowl.
I think
Super
that-
Bowl Browns.
Well, that was the 2020 year.
2019.
2019, and then
What was our record that year?
7.
We went like 8-1, something like that. Remember with the tie with the Steelers?
Let me see.
I think that season, that one doesn't even rank compare. Like I think this year is closer to being one of the worst seasons we've ever experienced because of that expectation. But I also think that 2021 season, you can't beat the Steelers hype up. I mean, think about how hyped we were that offseason.
Yeah.
I mean, we were telling Steelers fans we coming back to smack you. And then we don't even make the playoffs that year. Kareem Hunt was completely not utilized. Nick Chubb, we were talking about why is he not getting the ball anymore. Baker Mayfield had the shoulder thing.
Yeah.
Like, there were a lot of things going there. But I think it's between this season, last season, and that 2021 season. And then obviously you throw in the 131 stretch.
2019's pretty bad.
Looked
Now
it up.
that-
They went 6-10, guys.
6-10.
Unreal.
That was pretty bad.
Although I think the tone was really set for that 2019 season, week 1, when they got demolished by the
Because the thing that people forget, we had that Thursday night game, 3 weeks ago? That was Tampa Bay versus whoever, and they had 19 penalties. It was the most since the Browns in 2018. The opening game of the season, Freddie Kitchens, 19 penalties for 150 yards.
Yeah. Crazy.
Unbelievable letdown.
You know
That's
what?
tough.
You might actually, because we made the playoffs.
Made the playoffs the next year.
We made the playoffs the next year, and that was still with OBJ on the team.
Yep. He tore his ACL, though. He tore his ACL like week 5.
They were fractured. That was the beginning of the fracture. We didn't know, though. You know, that one clip always goes around. I want you guys to rewatch the clip. That clip where Baker Mayfield runs for the first down to basically seal the playoff deal for the Browns. Everyone talks about, this was such a great moment. That was not a great moment for those guys on the bench. Look at who was surrounded by your franchise quarterback. Let me emphasize that. Your franchise quarterback just rushed for a first down to basically seal the deal.
Mm-hmm.
OBJ's walking right by him, nonchalantly. Myles Garrett was on the sideline right in front of him. Didn't really care.
Man.
Those guys, there was something there that, and it goes back to that paper analogy. Who was the head coach during all of that? Who couldn't manage that personality? Who couldn't figure that out? Your head coach. Those guys remember that type of stuff. That's why I think I talk about how valuable that 2024 season was, because they were second time around with Kevin Stefanski this time. They've been through another expectation year where they failed, and now they know how to manage those emotions. How are you going to grow from that? So that's why, how is there a world where Kevin Stefanski can come back? That goes into another reason why it could be he comes back, because now you've gone through 2 big disappointing things, but this team really didn't give up, whether it was for you or not. They found a way to get through that, and there is a little bit of credit that needs to be given to Kevin for that.
I want to end by asking this, and this just kind of popped in my head as you were talking about the fracture with stars, for lack of a better term, Myles Garrett, Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham Jr., how it didn't work with Deshaun Watson, and Myles Garrett speaking out against the offensive play calling, the game plan. If the Browns want to bring in stars, let's just say A.J. Brown. Browns want to bring in a star. Do you think the front office trusts Kevin Stefanski to handle that for a 4th time? Exactly.
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't even, if I'm a star, and that's one thing that I have to know. Who's running the show?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
and I think the Browns will make it very clear early in the offseason, whether Stefanski goes or not, that's the case.
How do you sell this to the guys and be like, hey, yo, we bringing Kevin back?
You can't. I think you'd have to lean into Shedeur Sanders, how good the defense is.
You know that's what they're running with too, right? You know the whole thing is, Shedeur and Kevin, ever since they got together, it's been working.
Well, I don't know. I don't think Watson's a selling point anymore.
For a new coach, I think it has to be. I think call me crazy. I think if Kevin Stefanski were to get canned, you have to have a 1-year plan for Watson. You have to.
And honestly, I do think it's more enticing than not I don't know. I think there are. I'll say it like this. I think there are coaches out there who would be interested in a 1-year plan with Deshaun Watson.
And that's where it goes to the one. There's one coach that makes so much sense. You want to talk about an experiment?
Who do you think?
Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
Go get the coach that made Deshaun Watson a top 3 quarterback in the league and let him get this. Then you get that, and then you get to, it was like, well, okay, well, if he could develop Deshaun Watson, we still have Shedeur Sanders right in our back pocket. So, I mean, what are we doing here? Like, I think if you do want to explore the Deshaun Watson thing, you need to at this point, get his opinion. Get his legitimate opinion of, like, who could it work with?
LaWatson, or no. LaWatson, yeah. The GM.
Not like
LaWatson.
that. No. But I at least want to be like, what's your thoughts on Bill?
Yeah. No, I think that's part of it.
But there's one guy that is above all of that.
But before you say anything, I also think that was a part of them bringing in Ken Dorsey. So.
But Kevin was overclouding that, though. Like, that's why I think the Ken Dorsey thing wasn't fair.
Ken Dorsey, to me, is one of the biggest scapegoats of all time.
Yeah.
Buffalo, here. Yeah. I don't like how a lot of that stuff unfolded.
Talking about the U as well. When he played for the U, he lost to Ohio State. So in this state, it's a very popular thing. We got that game coming up on New Year's, guys. Ohio State versus Miami. But had to stick that one in here for you.
No, please do. I want to get your national championship prediction. I have Ohio State over Indiana, but my dark horse, and I mean dark horse, quote unquote, it's like my big upset. I have Ole Miss over Georgia. This week is my pick. That's
let's see.
How's that looking on the FanDuel Sportsbook?
Oh man, is it within a possession? I don't know if it is within a possession.
I'd be shocked.
Who's all in the playoff right now? Is it just 3 teams?
No,
6
it's
teams?
Ohio State, Miami. It's
Oregon, Texas Tech,
Oregon, Texas Tech, Alabama,
Indiana,
and then
is there?
You know that Georgia's a touchdown favorite.
Touchdown
Favorite over Ole Miss. Max is taking the money line at plus 184. That's pretty good value there, Maxwell.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
Is there a world where Ohio State and Indiana can get to the championship?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, then that's probably what it's gonna be.
Interesting.
And then you'll see you'll see
Mendoza,
Haslam and them boys down there for the scout.
looking for Caleb Downs. And
before we get out of here real
Arnold
quick too, I don't know if we actually mentioned this, but the Browns sent Nick Bedone was all over this. The Browns sent not a single scout to the Big Ten championship game.
Wow.
There was only one game that
not
they
even
went
one.
to. Or there was only one game that
they went to all season long. You didn't send it to Ohio State.
What was the game they went to?
You know who it was.
I don't.
Who they won't?
Oh, Texas.
Arch Manning.
Yeah, Arch Manning.
It was
I forgot
the
about
only
this.
game that they went to. It was Arch Manning.
Unbelievable.
That's why quarterback.
Was it beginning of the year? It's believable.
First game.
Yeah, that.
First game of the year.
Yeah. Duh. That's very believable. I believe they did that. That is for sure. Look, if you would have told me the Browns would have had a chance at Arch this year without like believing
if Arch was in, they're taking him. I fully 1,000% agree.
I don't know.
Or not agree, but believe it.
I don't know. We'll wait to see. We will talk to you guys before this Bengals-Browns Week 18, not meaningless, but potential meaningless game Week 18. Zay, take us home.
I guess we can get a real one this week.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
We appreciate you guys. See you next time.